Overnight, Senate Republicans reversing course to align with the president, rejecting a previous bipartisan rebuke of Trump's war powers. Two Republican senators, Bill Cassidy and Rand Paul, changing their votes. The about-face coming just hours after the president's meeting with Senate Republicans on Capitol Hill descended into a shouting match over the war in Iran. Trump furious, lashing out at several Republicans, including Cassidy, who previously voted to limit his war powers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So what we have here today is President Trump laying down the law finally, because we all know that the president is growing increasingly frustrated with the Senate, especially Senate RINOs who aren't working for the American people, because the president has been demanding the Save America Act, which is why President Trump went up to Capitol Hill yesterday. And basically what happened is President Trump had to lay down the law to let these senators know who's in charge and who's accountable to the American people. And overnight, what we're seeing a lot of these RINOs switching their positions, including Bill Cassidy, who President Trump completely humiliated yesterday. And I have this article to show you that's titled, "Trump Blows Up at Bill Cassidy Over Iran War Powers Resolution." And the article continues to say, Trump, infuriated over Cassidy's defiance in front of the entire Senate GOP conference, started yelling at the senator, and Cassidy yelled back, matching the president's tone and anger. And if you don't know who Bill Cassidy is, he's basically someone who voted to impeach President Trump or to convict President Trump during the sham impeachment trials in 2020. And President Trump primaried Bill Cassidy and he lost his primary. He's about to lose his seat in Congress, which is why you see him trying to size himself up with the president. And the article continues to say that Cassidy said Trump then got personal, insulting him over his primary election loss. And here we have a video of Bill Cassidy or CNN reporting on exactly what happened during that meeting. Play clip.
What we have heard from sources that were in that room and Senator Bill Cassidy himself is that this was an exchange that really escalated with the president. Bill Cassidy telling our colleague Morgan Rimmer just a few moments ago that he lost his temper. Essentially, the president was asking why these four Republican senators would vote for this war powers vote last night. And at that point, Cassidy told our colleague Morgan Rimmer that he asked the president, is that a rhetorical question or do you want to actually know the answer? The president invited him to share why he voted the way that he did. And essentially, Cassidy berated the president for what has transpired in Iran, for not being clear with Congress about his actions in the region, and essentially arguing that until he got a more fulsome briefing of what was transpiring, he was going to continue voting the way that he was voting.
That was CNN reporting on exactly what happened during the meeting or the luncheon with President Trump, where President Trump went up to Capitol Hill to see those senators, Senate Republicans, to talk to them to see exactly what's going on with his agenda. And especially the RINOs. And these RINOs, some of them, they're still butthurt, especially Bill Cassidy. And here we have Bill Cassidy accounting exactly what happened during that meeting. And one thing we have to keep in mind, this guy, he's still butthurt because he lost his primary to someone that President Trump endorsed. Play clip.
The president was wondering why people would vote for the War Powers Act. I asked him if that would be a rhetorical question or a real question. He said real. And so as we began to speak, the president didn't want to hear my question, interrupted me. I didn't care to be interrupted. I felt like I was trying to get answers for the American people. And I'm not going to be bullied when I'm trying to get answers for the American people. And so it escalated from there. At some point, it de-escalated.
We're told the president called you a lunatic?
Can I imagine that the president called me things that would be said on a playground? Yeah, I can imagine that.
Does it bother you that he went after Leader McConnell, who wasn't here to defend himself?
If there's somebody I know who's got thick skin, it's Leader McConnell.
That was Bill Cassidy giving his personal account of what happened after President Trump had to put him in his place. Because Bill Cassidy, he's still salty about losing his primary. This is not about the Iran or anything like that. He's saying that he's using that as a front to get back to the president. But at the end of the day, President Trump holds all the cards because Bill Cassidy, he's about to be gone. And President Trump, he's going to be around for a while because he's a force within the Republican Party and he's going to dictate who gets elected or who doesn't by essentially endorsing who can get the job done for the American people. And here we have President Trump immediately after the meeting throwing shots at Bill Cassidy. Play clip.
So I think we had a really great meeting, and we're very proud of the party. We like our leader. We like everybody really in the room. I don't like a few people, but that's okay. I think you know who they are. But I'll give you that information someday. But for the most part, we have a really well-unified party. And I said it very strongly. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the most...
That was President Trump immediately after that meeting, that luncheon, throwing shots at Bill Cassidy and a few other RINOs, which I think we all know who those individuals are. And one thing we have to keep in mind is that immediately after that meeting, after President Trump dropped the hammer on these RINOs, on these Republicans, they immediately changed their votes on the Iran War Powers Act. And this is that reporting. Play clip.
New this morning, a Senate shift following a rare verbal confrontation with the president over the war in Iran. Two Republican senators who broke with their party on a war powers resolution switched course and did not support a similar measure late Wednesday. In the heated private meeting, the president and some Republicans aired their anger.
He was mad as a murder hornet.
At the center, Louisiana Republican Bill Cassidy, who lost his primary to a Trump-backed challenger. He had been one of 4 Republicans who had voted for a war-related measure that had no force of law. During the private lunch, Cassidy argued that the president failed to provide necessary information about Iran.
After that meeting where President Trump dug into Bill Cassidy and a few other RINOs, Bill Cassidy went over to the White House for a briefing where Vice President J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff update him on what's going on in Iran, and then he's changed his vote. But let us move on to the Save America Act to see exactly what is going on there, because we know the RINOs, they're still trying to block this bill along with Senate Democrats as well. And I'm going to show you this video of Chuck Schumer pretty much lying about the Save America Act as usual. But the status right now is Senator John Thune, he's saying that they don't have the votes. He doesn't want to nuke the filibuster or whatever the case may be. And President Trump was supposed to sign this housing bill. It's a bipartisan housing bill, and President Trump is refusing to sign that bill until he essentially gets the Save America Act onto his desk where he can sign that bill. And here we have Chuck Schumer lying about this bill. Play clip.
The GOP will continue going along with Trump's all-out assault on voting rights with legislation like the SAVE Act. If my colleagues across the aisle have any sense at all, they ought to grill Trump on affordability, on his failed war with Iran, on his effort to hold American national security hostage, and all his other policies that are hurting the American people. When they emerge from their meeting, will Republicans have told Trump the truth? Will they speak truth to power? Will they do their job? Or will they just bend in obeisance to him and get more frustrated, more angry, more ineffective than they've ever been?
That was Chuck Schumer lying about the Save America Act because the Democrats, they don't want voter ID or to show proof of citizenship in order to vote. And he's sitting there lying as his party is being taken over by a whole bunch of communist, socialist Democrats. And here we have Chuck Schumer running from the cameras as he's confronted about lying about the Save America Act. Play clip.
Leader Schumer, you recently said the Save America Act would stop 25 million people from voting. Why did you not say citizens? Is this an admission that aliens are voting in American elections? Is the housing bill more important than securing elections, Mr. Leader?
It is funny how Democrats, they're always running around saying that this administration is always trying to dismantle the press. But whenever the press, they're doing their jobs, Democrats, they don't want to answer questions, which is just insane to me. And here we have President Trump pretty much digging into Chuck Schumer, calling him out for his hypocritical behavior. Play clip.
Schumer's lost his way. He's become essentially a Palestinian. I think it's the greatest transformation of a political position I've ever seen. Chuck Schumer, who was a strong supporter of Israel, and he's become 100% Palestinian. In fact, I've asked for a beautiful, beautiful silk outfit to be sent in the Palestinian tradition. I'm going to send it to him as a birthday present.
And that brings us to the end of this video. There's a possibility I'll try to do another video today, but I'm a little bit tired. I haven't been sleeping because I've been working so much. But let me know what you think in the comment section below in regards to this whole situation with Bill Cassidy and President Trump and all these RINOs. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.